The time is 6:15. Here is the news edited by Dulmin Samrasingha, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. India expresses its sincere gratitude to the clergy and people of Sri Lanka for their continuing prayers and well-wishes. Parliament Select Committee appointed for election law reforms. The Environment Ministry decides to take legal action against companies that have violated the Gazette notification. The methodology to select best students suspended. Foreign news. Reused COVID nose swab scam busted in Indonesia airport. Sports news. Indian Premier League. Australians are expected to spend time in Maldives or Sri Lanka before returning to home. Local news in detail. High Commission of India, on behalf of the government and people of India, has expressed its sincere gratitude to the clergy and people of Sri Lanka for their continuing prayers and well-wishes for their brethren in India as the pandemic of epic proportions is being valiantly fought. Issuing a statement, they said that High Commission and officials serving at the High Commission of India are overwhelmed by numerous calls and messages they have received. In addition to the special ceremonies that were being organized in different parts of Sri Lanka for the health and well-being of people of India. Parliamentarians to serve in the Select Committee to identify appropriate reforms of election laws and the electoral system and to recommend necessary amendments were announced today in Parliament by Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardena. 14 lawmakers have been appointed to the Select Committee, chaired by Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Ministers Nimal Siripal de Silva, Professor G.L. Pires, Pavitra Banyarachi, Douglas Devananda, Bimal Veeravansa, Ali Sabri, State Minister Jeevan Thondaman, MPs Anura Dissanayake, Kabir Hasim, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Manu Ganeshan, M.A. Sumandiran, Madhura Vithanage and Sagar Karyavasam were announced as the members of the Select Committee. The Environment Ministry had decided to take legal action against companies that have violated the Gazette notification issued by the Ministry regarding the use of disposable single-use plastics and polythene. An extraordinary Gazette notification was issued connected to this by the Environment Ministry on 31st of March. The Central Environmental Authority had received a complaint regarding a company that issued 24 GSM polythene sheets packets to the market, violating several matters mentioned in the Gazette notification. The methodology to select the best students in the island has been suspended. Commissioner General of Examinations Sanath Pujitha said that island and district rankings are only for the purpose of a university entrance. During a media briefing in Colombo today, he said that a stiff competition at present has affected the mental condition of the students who have been qualified and not qualified to enter universities. He said that the facilities will be provided for recorrections after opening schools. Mr. Pujitha said that private candidates will be given the online facility for recorrections. He said it would be advertised in newspapers. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Receive early cash advances and an unmatchable bonus at maturity from Sri Lanka Insurance Early Cash.
Continuing with more local news, former director of the CID Shani Abeysekara, who was arrested for fabricating evidence, has been re-remanded until 19th May by the courts. Accordingly, 3 others have been further remanded along with Mr. Abeysekara. The Colombo High Court has ordered to take up the case against 10 suspects, including Arjun Mahendran, on the 7th of June. They have been accused of criminal misappropriations of funds and bonds valuing more than 688 million rupees during a central bank bond auction in February 2015. Creating agricultural history, the government will launch a mega drive to use drones to spray organic fertilizer, and a separate unit will be set up in each electoral district for this purpose. State Minister of Production and Supply of Fertilizer and Regulation of Chemical Fertilizer Mohan P. D. Silva said that the first trial was successfully done last year in Pinnavara, Galle, using drones to spray organic fertilizer on paddy fields. He said post studies from the venue found that the trial was very successful and now they want to commercialize the initiative. Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team said among 160 countries, Sri Lanka is ranked 69th in the National Cyber Security Index. They said the National Cyber Security Index is a global index that measures the preparedness of countries to prevent cyber threats and manage cyber crimes. According to the latest National Cyber Security Index ranking, Sri Lanka has advanced to 69 this year. The country was ranked 98 in 2020. That ends local news.
Finished? You have 1 more hour to write the exam.
Yes, sir. Always early.
Receive early cash advances and an unmatchable bonus at maturity from Sri Lanka Insurance Early Cash.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Sri Lanka's COVID-19 recovery has passed the 100,000 milestone as 922 more virus-infected patients returned to health and were discharged from medical care within the last 24 hours. The country has recorded 100,075 recoveries so far. The number of coronavirus infections registered in Sri Lanka since the outbreak of the pandemic now stands at 115,590. The daily situation report showed 14,795 patients are currently under medical care at hospitals and treatment centers. Health authorities said there were 11 more COVID-19 related deaths today. The country's death toll from the coronavirus outbreak now stands at 720. That came to you on Main News Story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Consular Affairs Division of the Foreign Ministry has limited its operations hours from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. The consular services except in the cases of deaths of Sri Lanka's overseas and attestation of the report documents and related certificates are provided strictly by appointment only. It has requested the public to contact the Consular Affairs Division on telephone number 011 233 5942, 011 233 8836 and 011 233 8812, or email consular@mfa.gov.lk to make an appointment. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Reused COVID nose swab scam busted in Indonesia airport. Number of children in Japan hits 40-year low. Huawei and ZTE left out of India's 5G trials. World news in detail. Several employees of a pharmaceutical company have been arrested in Indonesia for allegedly washing and reselling used COVID nozzle swab test kits. Up to 9,000 passengers at an airport in Medan may have been tested with the reused swab sticks. State-owned company Kimia Pharma is now reportedly facing a potential lawsuit launched on behalf of the travelers. The number of children in Japan has declined for 40 straight years since 1982. Japan's International Affairs Minister says the number of children aged 14 or younger totaled 14.93 million as of 1st of April. Children now account for 11.9% of Japan's total population, down by 0.1% point over the past year. The ratio is the lowest among the countries with the population of over 40 million. The figure for the United States in 2018 was 18.6. The same year in Italy, the percentage was 13.3. India's telecom ministry has left out Chinese equipment makers Huawei and ZTE from its 5G trials, becoming the latest country to lock the firms out. Ministry granted permission to a dozen firms, including Ericsson, Nokia and Samsung Network to conduct a 6-month trial of 5G technology. Although Huawei and ZTE were not named, they were not banned from supplying 5G equipment to carriers. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Reused COVID nozzle swab scam busted in Indonesia airport. Number of children in Japan hits 40-year low. Huawei and ZTE left out of India's 5G trials. That ends world news. Moving on to development news, Sri Lanka Nanotechnology Institute has produced a machine that can give results of the PCR test within half an hour. At present, it takes about 2.5 hours. Dr. Lasitha Pahalagidara of the institute said it could increase the number of PCR tests done daily in the country. That ends development news. Sports news is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie's Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie's Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Cricket news. Australians at the Indian Premier League will have to spend time in Sri Lanka or the Maldives before returning home after the tournament was suspended. Australia has closed its borders to travellers from India until 15th May after a surge in COVID-19 cases. The Indian Cricket Board has committed to flying all 38 Australians home on a charter flight when they are able. Chennai Super Kings batting coach Mike Hussey has since tested positive. Hussey will remain in a 10-day quarantine in India when the group departs within the next 2 or 3 days. The Australians involved at the IPL, which includes players, coaches and commentators, will have to quarantine for 14 days when they return home. Meanwhile, Australian police arrested 4 men in down raids today in connection with the alleged kidnap and assault of former Test cricket Stuart McGill. Reports said McGill, aged 50, was allegedly abducted from near his home in Sydney on April 14th and taken to another part of the city where he was beaten and threatened with a gun. That ends sports news.
My wife always sets a full lunch table even if it's just the 2 of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie's Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie's Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
NDB Investment Bank led and facilitated strategic merger and acquisition transaction of the recently concluded divestiture of the hydropower assets of Sunshine Energy Private Limited to Aitken-Spence plc. NDB Investment Bank acted as the exclusive sell-side advisor to the divesting shareholders of the Waltrim Energy Limited. NDB Investment Bank CEO Darshana Pereira said their focus when it comes to mergers and acquisition is to make sure their clients receive best-in-class financial advisory services to achieve their strategic goals. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Cabinet has cleared the path to table the Central Bank Annual Report 2020 in Parliament as per the provisions of the Monetary Act. On Monday, the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, sought the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers to table the report in Parliament. According to the provisions of the Monetary Act, the annual report must be submitted to Parliament by the Finance Minister within 14 days of its submission.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces NanaSir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur over most parts of the island during the evening or night. Showers can occur over Eastern Province and in Hambantota district. Very heavy rainfalls above 75 mm can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa, Central, Western, over Northwestern and Southern provinces. That ends with the report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces NanaSir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. India expresses its sincere gratitude to the clergy and people of Sri Lanka for their continuing prayers and well-wishes. Parliament Select Committee appointed for election law reforms. The Environment Ministry decides to take legal action against companies that have violated the Gazette notification. The methodology to select best students suspended. Foreign news, reused COVID nose swab scam busted in Indonesia airport. Sports news, India Premier League. Australians are expected to spend time in Maldives or Sri Lanka before returning home. That ends the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka.